Welcome, my friend. The storm rages outside, but here, in the quiet of this story, I invite you to find peace. Let the sound of the rain and the distant thunder guide you as you drift into a place of calm. This story is my gift to you, a gentle companion for a night of restful sleep. Relax, let go of the day, and let the story carry you into dreams. I didn't plan it. I didn't want to be here, alone, in this quiet house. But somehow that's exactly where I found myself. It started like any other evening. I was sitting on the couch, mindlessly flipping through channels, the dim glow of the TV casting shadows across the room. The house was still, too still, the kind of silence you get when the outside world seems to disappear, like the noise has been sucked into a void and left nothing behind. I had the windows shut tight, the rain pouring outside, but there was this odd kind of quiet that pressed against the walls. And the longer I sat there, the more I realized it wasn't just the storm outside. It was something inside the house, something watching. The dog barked. It was a sharp, quick bark, more frantic than usual, like it had been startled by something. That's the thing. Every time there's a storm, the dog usually hides under the porch, whining. But tonight it sounded different. Almost like it was barking at something that wasn't there. At first I shrugged it off. It was probably just some weird noise outside, the wind shaking things loose, or maybe a cat running across the yard. But then footsteps. Now I'll admit it. At first I thought I was just hearing things. Maybe it was the house settling or the storm messing with my head, but there was no mistaking it. The sound of heavy footsteps walking across the floor above me. I sat up, my eyes darting to the ceiling. My breath caught in my throat, and I froze. I knew I was the only one here. I had just moved into this place a few weeks ago, and while it was an old house, I had never felt like this before. The footsteps didn't stop. They continued, slow and deliberate, as if whoever was up there didn't care that I could hear them. The sound echoed through the quiet house, and my heart began to beat faster. I stood up, slowly, almost afraid of what I might find. I moved toward the stairs, my feet heavy against the floor, as if the very act of walking was making my presence known, alerting whatever or whoever was up there. But the closer I got to the stairs, the more the footsteps seemed to slow. It was as if they were waiting for me, watching me. I couldn't explain it, but I knew something was wrong. "Hello?" I called out, my voice shaking slightly, though I tried to keep it calm. No response, no footsteps, no sounds at all, just the pounding of my own heart in my chest. I couldn't bring myself to move. It was like my body was frozen, caught between two instincts, the need to run, and the need to face whatever it was up there. I glanced back toward the living room, where the TV sat in silence, the only light in the room flickering from the screen. The shadows cast by the dim glow seemed to move on their own, stretching long across the walls. I forced myself to take a deep breath, finally turning toward the stairs, and taking the first step. That's when I heard it, a whisper, barely audible at first, just a soft murmur in the distance. It wasn't like any whisper I'd ever heard before. It was more like breathing, slow, rhythmic, but laced with something deeper, something darker. I wanted to turn around and leave, but my feet carried me forward, one step at a time. "Is anyone there?" I tried again, this time my voice more forceful, though it still quivered with fear. No answer, just silence. And then the door at the top of the stairs creaked open, slowly, too slowly. That's when I saw her, a figure standing in the doorway. Her face was partially obscured by the darkness, but I could see her eyes, those dark, hollow eyes that stared straight at me, unblinking. She didn't move. She didn't speak. She just stood there, watching me. For a second I thought my mind was playing tricks on me. I mean, who wouldn't be freaked out after hearing footsteps in an empty house? But no, she was real. She was there. I tried to back away, but my feet wouldn't move. My breath caught in my throat, and all I could do was stare at her, frozen in place. The silence between us was suffocating, thick like fog, and I couldn't bring myself to speak. I was sure she'd say something, explain herself, tell me this was all some twisted joke, but she didn't. And then, with the calmest voice I had ever heard, she whispered, "You shouldn't have stayed." The silence after her words felt suffocating, like the air had thickened around me, pressing down on my chest, making it harder to breathe. I couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't think. My mind was spinning, trying to make sense of what was happening. Who was she? Why was she here? She just stood there, staring at me with those dark, hollow eyes. Her expression didn't change. It was like she was waiting for something, waiting for me to do something, say something, anything. But I couldn't. I was paralyzed by fear. I should have run. I should have turned and bolted out of that house the second I saw her. But I couldn't tear myself away from her gaze. The longer I stared, the more her presence seemed to fill the room. The walls, the air, the very floor beneath me. It all felt like it was closing in. Finally, I forced my body to move, my legs trembling beneath me as I backed away from the top of the stairs. The figure didn't follow me. She didn't say anything. She just stood there, watching. I couldn't take my eyes off her. The more I looked, the more I realized how wrong she was. Her skin was pale, too pale, and her hair hung in matted strands around her face. Her clothes were ragged, torn as though she had been wandering the house for years. But the most unsettling thing was her eyes. Those hollow, empty eyes that seemed to see everything. Every fear, every secret, every part of me. I didn't want her to know. I snapped my head away, unable to stand the weight of her gaze any longer. My heart pounded in my chest as I turned and ran, stumbling down the stairs, my breath coming in short, shallow gasps. I couldn't stop. I couldn't let her catch me. I rushed into the living room, my mind racing. I needed to do something, anything. I couldn't just stand there and let her, whatever she was, take me. I grabbed my phone, my hands shaking as I dialed the first number that came to my mind. My best friend Jake. He'd always been the one I could rely on. I needed him now, but the line was dead. I tried again, and again. The phone gave me nothing but silence. No, 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 no. This can't be happening. I tried the house phone, but that was dead too. The power had gone out. The lights flickering in the corner of my eye, casting long, distorted shadows across the room. It felt like the house was alive. Its very walls seemed to pulse, as if they were breathing. I turned to look around the room, frantic, but the walls seemed to close in on me. The shadows, those long, twisted shadows, seemed to stretch across the floor toward me, as though they were reaching for me, pulling me toward the center of the room. Click. The sound made my blood run cold. A light flickered in the corner of the room. The shadows shrank for a moment, revealing something else, something I hadn't seen before. A door. I hadn't noticed it before, but there it was, hidden in the far corner of the room, as if it had just appeared out of nowhere. The wood was old, chipped, as though it had been forgotten. It stood there, beckoning me. I approached it slowly, cautiously, my heart in my throat. Every instinct told me to turn around, to leave, to forget everything, and just get the hell out of there. But I couldn't. I had to know. I reached for the doorknob. The moment my fingers touched it, I heard it. The soft whisper again, louder this time, cutting through the silence. You can't leave. I froze. The voice wasn't coming from behind me. It wasn't coming from anywhere I could pinpoint. It was everywhere. Inside my mind. Inside my soul. I didn't look back. I couldn't. But I knew she was there. I knew she was watching, waiting. And somehow I knew this was the moment. The moment I would either break free or be trapped forever. I twisted the knob and pushed open the door. What I saw on the other side made my heart stop. I never expected to find that on the other side of the door. What I saw, what I felt, shattered everything I thought I knew about the house, about myself, about reality. When I pushed open the door, I was greeted by an unbearable cold. The temperature in the room dropped so fast, I could see my breath cloud in the air. The room beyond wasn't much to look at. A small, dimly lit space, the kind of room you'd find in the attic or a forgotten corner of an old house. But what made my stomach twist was what was in the room. It wasn't just empty space. It wasn't just dust and cobwebs. No, this room was alive. The walls were lined with mirrors, hundreds of them, covering every surface, each reflecting something different. At first, I thought they were just ordinary mirrors, but when I stepped inside, the reflections in the glass began to warp. They didn't reflect me. They reflected something else. I looked into one of the mirrors, and there I was. But I wasn't me. My face was twisted in horror, my eyes wide, the skin of my face stretched taut, as if I was screaming, but I wasn't making a sound. My reflection moved on its own, mimicking my every motion, but always with that twisted, unnatural look. I stumbled backward, my heart hammering in my chest. The reflections didn't stop. They kept moving, shifting, like they were trying to break free from their glass prisons. I could hear whispers, distant but sharp, cutting through the thick air of the room. They were saying something, but I couldn't understand. It sounded like a language I'd never heard, words that didn't make sense. I turned away from the mirrors, trying to catch my breath, but that's when I noticed something even worse. On the floor, scattered around the room like discarded toys, were photographs, old yellowed photographs, black and white, the edges frayed and curly with age. I bent down and picked one up, and my heart nearly stopped. It was a photo of me, not just any photo. This one was taken a long time ago, years ago, when I was a child. The photo showed me sitting on the porch of my old house, smiling as my parents stood behind me. But there was something wrong with it. My face in the photo was blank, a void where my eyes and mouth should have been. I dropped the photograph as if it had burned me, but it wasn't enough. Every photo was the same. Each one had my face, but my eyes and mouth were missing, replaced by an empty, soulless void. The whispers grew louder. You shouldn't have come in here. You shouldn't have looked. I spun around, my breath shallow, my mind screaming at me to run, but I couldn't. I couldn't tear myself away from the room, from the mirrors, from the photographs. The floorboards creaked behind me. Slowly I turned. She was standing there, the woman. She was in the doorway, her figure casting a long dark shadow into the room. Her face was different, more distorted now, her eyes black pits, her skin stretched tight like a mask. Her mouth hung open, but no sound came out, only that low guttural hum vibrating through the walls. It was like she was speaking, but the sound was lost somewhere between here and somewhere else, somewhere far away. I opened my mouth to scream, but nothing came out. You shouldn't have stayed, she whispered, her voice cracking like an old record. You saw too much. I took a step back, my mind racing. What do you want from me? I choked out, my voice barely a whisper. Who are you? She didn't answer. Instead, she just stood there, her hollow eyes locked onto mine. The air in the room was thick now, heavier than ever, and I could feel something shifting, something moving around me, beyond my sight. I didn't know what it was, but I felt it, crawling beneath the floorboards, pressing against the walls, breathing through the very air. Suddenly the mirrors began to ripple, not just the reflections, but the mirrors themselves, the glass distorting like water disturbed by something unseen. The woman took a step forward, her feet gliding across the floor without a sound. She raised her hand, pointing directly at me, and then I heard it, a sound. Soft at first like a distant cry, echoing from all directions. It was the same voice, the same whispers, but now they were clearer. They were pleading, help us. I froze, my mind trying to process what I was hearing. It was no longer just her. The room itself, the house, was speaking to me, begging me for something. But what? What did it want from me? I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. Help us, the voice repeated, louder this time, filling the room with an overwhelming pressure. I didn't know what was real anymore. The air was so thick I couldn't think. I couldn't escape. I could only stare at the woman, her face twisting into a grotesque smile, her teeth sharp and pointed, her body twitching unnaturally. And then, without warning, she lunged at me. I didn't have time to react. The last thing I saw before everything went dark was her hand, reaching for my throat, her fingers like ice, digging deep into my skin. I don't know what I expected, but it certainly wasn't this. It's like I stepped into some horror movie, and now I'm stuck in the middle of it, with no way out. I've been trying to convince myself it's just the house playing tricks on me. Maybe it's the stress. Maybe I'm losing it. But this is too much. There I was, standing in the middle of the hallway, heart hammering in my chest, sweat sticking to my skin. And there she was, the woman, The one I've been running from for the past hour, or maybe longer. Time was starting to lose its meaning. It felt like hours, but it could have been days. I didn't even know anymore. The thunder outside cracked again, so loud I could feel the vibrations in my bones. The lights flickered overhead, and I heard the familiar creak of the house settling. Or was it something else moving in the house? Okay. I muttered to myself, my fingers twitching, my head spinning. I'm clearly losing my mind here. I turned to face her again. She didn't move, didn't blink, just stared at me with those empty, hollow eyes. It was like she was waiting for something, waiting for me to react. Listen, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I don't know if you're like a ghost, some kind of weird poltergeist, or if you just really like messing with people, but I'd really appreciate it if you'd give me 5 minutes to collect myself. I'm not sure why I thought humor was the best option. Maybe I was desperate for some sense of control, some kind of power over the situation. But there was no denying it. I was terrified. She didn't respond. Of course she didn't. Ghosts. Well, I'm assuming she's a ghost, because if she's not, I'm really worried. Never respond to humor. I mean, come on. I continued, shaking my head. How many people get a chance to have a life or death conversation with a creepy ghostly figure in their own hallway? I should be writing a book right now. I'm basically living in a Stephen King novel. And yet the woman stood still, the corners of her mouth twitching, like she was almost going to smile, but stopped herself. If she was a ghost, she definitely had a thing for dramatic pauses. You shouldn't have stayed, she repeated, and her voice was like a knife, slicing through the tension. Yeah, I've heard that one. I shot back, trying to keep my cool. Could we get to the part where you tell me what you want from me? The air in the hallway grew colder, if that was even possible. The walls seemed to close in, the shadows stretching longer, darker, until I could barely make out the door behind me. But something changed then. The shadows weren't just shadows. They were moving, creeping toward me like long fingers, reaching out of the darkness. I could feel them brush against me, pulling at the edges of my mind, the edges of my sanity. Okay, enough of the creepy stuff, I exclaimed, hands raised as if I could push back the darkness. I've had enough of this haunted house routine. Just tell me what you want so I can get the hell out of here. My voice was shaking, but I tried to mask it with frustration, trying to sound more annoyed than afraid. The woman's expression never changed. Her eyes, those dark hollow pits, seemed to grow wider. She took a step closer, her presence filling the hallway, like a thick fog slowly choking the air out of me. You don't leave, she whispered. You belong here. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run, but I couldn't move. It was like something was holding me in place, locking me to the floor. I looked around wildly, trying to find something, anything, to break free, but the shadows kept moving closer. They were pulling me, tugging at my legs, dragging me toward the center of the hallway. My feet were stuck. I couldn't breathe. My body wouldn't move. And then, just as I thought I was going to lose it completely, I saw it. A light, in the corner of my eye just behind the woman. I froze. There in the dim light from the hallway lamp, I saw what looked like a door. My door. The front door. The door to freedom. I can leave, I whispered to myself, my voice barely audible. The light from the door shimmered, and I knew deep in my gut that it was the only way out. I jerked away from the woman, almost tripping over my feet as I ran toward the door. The shadows screeched, howling like they were in agony. But I didn't look back. I couldn't. I had to get out. I reached for the door handle, my hand shaking as I turned it. It didn't budge at first, but then click, it opened. I stumbled into the night air, gasping for breath as I stepped outside, into the rain. The storm was still raging, but I didn't care. I didn't look back. I was free. I thought I was free. The rain lashed against me as I stumbled into the night, the cold biting at my skin like thousands of tiny needles. I didn't look back. Not once. I couldn't. Not after everything I'd just seen. The house was behind me, the woman, the mirrors, the shadows, all of it. Gone. But was it really gone? The rain soaked through my clothes, but I didn't care. The storm was my only company now, the sound of the thunder crashing like a drumbeat in the distance. Each flash of lightning illuminated the empty street, and I kept walking faster, as if putting more distance between me and the house would make it go away. I tried to laugh, to calm my breathing. Maybe it had all been a nightmare. Maybe I had just gotten so paranoid, so overwhelmed by the isolation, that I'd imagined everything. My heart still raced, my breath shallow, but the only sound I could hear now was the roar of the storm and the pounding of my feet on the wet pavement. But then, click, it was the sound of a door opening. I froze, mid-step. My mind screamed at me to keep moving, to run, but my feet wouldn't listen. Slowly I turned, my eyes scanning the street behind me, but there was no one there. No headlights, no figures, just the rain, the darkness, and the empty street stretching out endlessly in front of me. But then I heard it, a whisper, "You can't leave." I whipped around, panic surging in my chest, my heart beating out of control. But the street was still empty. The silence pressed in on me, heavier than before. My head spun, and my body moved of its own accord, dragging me back toward the house. "You belong here," the whispering voice said again, this time clearer, louder, more insistent. "You'll never leave." It wasn't just in my head anymore. It was coming from the house, from the door I had just escaped from. The front door was now wide open, its frame casting a dark shadow against the porch. But there was no one there, just the whispering, the shadows waiting for me. I should have kept running. I should have gone farther, gotten help, called someone. But my body, my stupid broken body, turned around. And just like that, I was walking back toward the house. The door creaked open as I approached, its hinges groaning in protest. The house was calling me, pulling me back. I reached the threshold, and for a moment I hesitated. I wanted to turn around, to run, but my feet were cemented to the floor. I stepped inside. The door slammed shut behind me. The house was different now. The shadows were thicker, more alive. The air was heavy, suffocating, like it had absorbed every fear, every thought, every desperate plea I had left in me. And in the distance, I heard her voice. "You came back." The woman, the voice, it was all around me, echoing through the walls, through the air. I turned around, but she wasn't there. Not yet, but I could feel her presence, hovering just beyond the threshold of my sight. "I told you," she whispered, "you can never leave." The house was no longer just a place. It was a trap. It was a prison, and I had walked straight into it. The front door was still open behind me, but there was no escaping now. I tried to run again, but my body wouldn't obey. I couldn't move. The walls were closing in, the shadows whispering my name, the floor groaning underfoot, like it was coming alive, pulling me deeper into its grasp. "Please," I whispered, my voice barely audible in the overwhelming silence. "Please, I just want to leave." But the house had already answered. It didn't want me to leave. It wanted me to stay. It wanted to keep me forever. And that's when I realized there is no escape.